The House of Representatives has approved a White House request to claw back 2 years of previously approved funding for public media. The rescissions package now moves on to the Senate. This move poses a serious threat to local stations and public media as we know it. Please take a stand for public media today at goacpr.org. Thank you.
Hey, before we get to this week's show, we're working on something new for NPR Plus supporters. They're pulling me out of mothballs to answer some of your car questions. So if you have a car question you'd like to ask me, I'll give you a number and you can call in a moment. And just like the old days, our extremely lazy producers will eventually listen to the messages, pick a few callers for me, we'll set up a time to talk, and I'll screw up the answers just like the old days. NPR Plus supporters will find these occasional, and I do mean occasional episodes, in their NPR Plus Car Talk feed. So if you have a car question, here's the number. It's 888-522-5478. That's 888-522-5478. Now here's the show.
Hello and welcome to Car Talk from National Public Radio with us, Click and Clack, the Tappet Brothers, and we're broadcasting this week from the gold standard of customer service department here at Car Talk Plaza.
It's more than that, man.
Oh, this is a winner.
It's more than that. It's enhanced customer relations. The other day, my wife gets this thing in the mail. It looks like a wedding invitation, and she opens it up, and it's one of those cute little note cards. Here it is. See?
Yeah, I see it. Yeah.
And
hold it up again. I think some of our audience may have missed it.
See, it's just a little note card, handwritten, and I don't think I should divulge the name of the store, but it's from a store that she's been to.
A clothing store.
A clothing store. She went to this clothing store.
Well-known clothing store, perhaps.
Well-known, national clothing store, and she couldn't remember when the last time was that she went there, but she's bought maybe one or two things in the last years. I mean, who knows? She gets this note.
Well, that you know of, anyway.
That I know of, yeah. Dear Joanne, handwritten. Dear Joanne, first name basis. How are you? How are you? It's been quite a while since I've seen you in the store.
Aha.
I just wanted to let you know how much great new product we have gotten in. Don't hesitate to give me a call if you have any questions. Maybe you'd like to set up an appointment. I'll be here for you. Thanks, Laurie. I mean, so my wife says, I'm going to answer it. So she writes this note. Dear Laurie, I can't tell you how important your note was to me. I've been in the throes of such a terrible depression that all my friends have abandoned me. But my behavior has been so unpredictable, who could blame them?
That's right.
For months now, I've talked to no one but my therapist. And then your note came. What a ray of sunshine in my otherwise bleak, pitiful, depressed existence. When can we get together? Can you do lunch on Thursday? Love, Joanne. Now, when Laurie gets this, she's going to say, who the hell is Joanne? Just like Joanne said, who the hell is Laurie?
I love it.
It deserved an answer.
It did, and maybe there'll be a return from Laurie.
Maybe they will. Maybe they will. I'll be here for you, man.
Wouldn't you be surprised if they did do lunch on Thursday? If you want to do lunch with us, our number is 888-CAR-TALK. That's 888-227-8255. Hello, you're on Car Talk.
Hi, my name is Colleen from Minnesota.
Colleen?
Yes.
Hi, Colleen. From Minnesota?
Yes.
Whereabouts in Minnesota?
Minneapolis, actually.
M-I-N-N-I-N-N-N-I.
Does Colleen have two L's and two E's?
It certainly
Yes.
does.
So what's up?
Shoot, Colleen.
Well, I have a 91 Dodge Spirit, and it's trying to kill me on the roadways. I'm convinced of this. When I'm driving along, I'm generally going about 60 to 65 miles an hour when it happens. It just starts to decelerate regardless of how heavily I've got my foot on the gas pedal. It starts going slower to the point where I'm putting on my hazards, and eventually it just stops and starts driving again. And I've had it to my mechanic and been told that there's too many things it could be, so he really can't diagnose it, and got
from his
desperate.
boat. It's going to be tough to diagnose.
Well, he drives it for 5 minutes, and it doesn't happen for him because it's pretty intermittent.
Yeah.
So it loses power.
It's like it's not getting fuel or something.
And you are trying to get over from the far left lane to the far right lane
without getting run over by the big truck honking at me behind. Exactly.
And this has recovered on its own every time?
Every time. It generally lasts for about one very tenuous minute while I'm trying to dodge getting run over, and then it's
How many miles are on this car?
a lot. There's 135.
Yeah.
So I got desperate and took it to a Dodge dealer.
There you go.
Yeah, thinking they would know. And
Yeah.
what they want to do is put a co-pilot test on it, which is some machine they hook into the electrical system, and I push a button every time it happens.
Right.
But it's like a $150 test. So I'm wondering if that's money well spent, or if I should just drive
Well,
this
you
until it
said
kills
you
me.
said you were putting your life in danger. Is your life not worth $150?
Well, it depends.
So you don't have any sage advice as to what might be going on with the car?
Well, here's what I think it is. And these guys, both the Chrysler dealer and this other fellow to whom you took it, should have done the most obvious thing, and that is to test your fuel pump pressure.
Okay.
Because with 135,000 miles on it, I'll tell you, I've never seen one of these fuel pumps in a Chrysler car last that long.
Okay.
So I'd be willing to bet that that's what your problem is. I mean, it could even be something as simple, and they would deserve to have their hands slapped.
If they didn't check the fuel filter.
And right.
And I'm sure they didn't, because he wasn't willing to pursue anything.
No,
until
say, look
he
at
could retrieve
Bozo.
the problem.
Take the fuel filter out and see if it's plugged.
Okay.
And then while you've got the fuel filter out, hook up the fuel pressure tester, and let's see if the fuel pressure is up to spec. In fact, run my car for an hour with the tester on it, and let's see if the fuel pressure stays at spec. If it doesn't, if it's supposed to be 37 and it goes down to 24, you need a fuel pump.
Okay.
And I think that's what you need.
Okay, so if I'm spending money against that test, that's probably a little bit...
Yeah, I wouldn't do that other test because you're not going to learn anything.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's not going to tell you whether or not your fuel pump pressure is high enough.
Okay.
Good luck, Colleen.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. 1-888-CAR-TALK. That's 888-227-8255. Hello, you're on Car Talk.
Hello, my name is Klaus. I'm calling from Raleigh, North Carolina.
Klaus.
Yeah, I drive a Volkswagen Fox 89.
Yeah.
And I think I have two questions, basically. The one thing is, I made this trip to New York and to Washington, D.C. and stuff, and I put some money into the car before then, and when I came back, I pulled into the driveway. It was a Sunday night at midnight, and I wanted to just start, half an hour later to go to the grocery store and get some groceries, and I couldn't put in any gear when the engine was running.
Oh.
I'm a physicist, so my own investigation resulted in the following thoughts.
Hypothesis. You have a hypothesis.
Exactly.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay.
The one thing is, I can shift the gears when the engine is not running. I cannot shift gears when the engine is running. I mean, no gear at all.
Right. Therefore, right, this is a little syllogism. Therefore,
Therefore. Exactly. Therefore.
I must learn to drive without the engine running.
Well, that's what I did, actually. Because,
It's called coasting.
Because I was at the grocery store then, and I stopped the engine, put in the first gear, and cranked it up until it was running, the car.
Yeah.
It was hopping a little bit forward, but then it was going, and there was no traffic.
Yeah.
And, so I adjusted the revolution so that I could get into second, and this brought me home again.
Yes.
Very good.
I think that the clutch isn't opening anymore for some reason.
Very good, Klaus.
You
Very
have
good.
come to the correct conclusion.
The
All
clutch
right.
is no longer
Great.
disengaging, and that's why, in fact, you've probably figured out that once you're moving, you can actually shift it to second, third, and fourth
Exactly.
pretty easily. But that first gear and reverse are killers, and they require that you shut the thing off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Is it seriously that, the clutch just totally died on me, or is there any other reason that could have gone wrong?
There's another reason, and if you're lucky, this is what it is. It's possible that the clutch cable has stretched. There's a cable that runs from the pedal down to the arm that holds the clutch release bearing.
And if you have led a good, clean life, you can replace that for $30.
Oh, wow.
So you actually, the part probably, if you go to a Volkswagen dealer, it probably
Right.
costs $20 or something, $20, $30.
Well, I'm assuming he's going to do it himself.
You are going to
Yeah.
do it yourself. It's actually pretty easy to do.
Oh, okay.
And it requires that you get under the dashboard and disconnect the cable
Right.
from the pedal. And There's a
Right.
very simple hook there that hooks it onto the pedal. It's even a physicist can do this. And then the other end has a bunch of little clips in a
Right.
little rubber grommet, but it's
Yeah.
all obvious. I would take a Polaroid picture of it, however.
Yeah, I actually, how do I know that it is stretched? Because
Well, you don't. The way you know is you put a new one in.
Oh, okay.
And then you'll adjust it so that the pedal feels normal. When you're sitting in the driver's seat,
Right.
you should be able to push that pedal about an inch with very little resistance.
Uh-huh.
And then the remaining distance requires considerable effort.
Oh, I see.
So you want to adjust that. There's an adjustment on the cable, and you'll figure out how to do that.
Right.
There's a nut you have to turn. And when you've done this and adjusted it, and the pedal feels like a normal pedal should feel,
Then you start it up and you step on the clutch and it'll
go,
slide right into first gear. It'll slide right in.
and if it doesn't, then you need to replace the clutch.
Oh, okay. Let me ask you another question.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I bought the car for $1,300. I put in $300, and if I have to replace the clutch, it would be another $400 or $500.
More, but that's okay.
Yeah, roundabout, I guess. So I was thinking, is it worthwhile because it has 16,000 miles on it and so forth to do that, or is it just it's getting close to becoming $1,800, $2,000 car?
Yeah, so what? That's cheap. That's
think
cheap.
so?
Oh, what's the alternative? The alternative is that you take it to the junkyard, they give you $25 for it.
Uh-huh.
Because no one in his right mind is going to drive a car that he can't shift. So
Right,
even if
right.
you were going to sell it, you'd have to replace the clutch.
And we are bound by our affiliation with ARTA, the Automobile Repair Technicians of America, to encourage people to fix their cars whenever possible.
That's right. And if we ever recommended anything other than that, we would be summarily
Drummed out.
drummed out of the organization.
And no longer able to attend the annual seat cover convention in Dayton.
And the boat show. Seat cover and boat
See you,
show.
Klaus. Good luck.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, we've got more calls coming up right after this, so don't go anywhere.
Pop Culture Happy Hour, NPR's easy breezy, laid back pop culture podcast, has brought you the best in culture for the past 15 years.
That means we spent the last 15 years talking about what exactly?
Bad reality TV, actually good Marvel movies,
Actually awful Marvel movies.
reboots, pop music,
Prestige dramas.
Netflix slop. That's 15 years of buzzy pop culture chit chat, and here's to many more with you along for the ride. Listen to Pop Culture Happy Hour on the NPR app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Grab a snack, make the bed, check your mail, or catch up on the latest news with the NPR News Now podcast. Listen in the time it takes you to do any of those other activities or while doing them. We bring you the stories you need to know in just 5 minutes every hour of every day. Listen now to the NPR News Now podcast.
At Planet Money, we know that economic jargon can sometimes feel like speaking another language.
Yeah, like arbitrage, alpha, autarky.
That's just what's in the news these days. There's also absolute advantage, aggregate demand,
Aggregate supply. And this is just the A's.
oh, animal spirits.
That's a pretty good one. Planet Money from NPR. We help you translate the economy so you can understand the world, wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, we're back. You're listening to Car Talk with us, Click and Clack, the Tappert Brothers, and we're here to discuss, of course, what? Cars, car repair, and the art of the reused puzzler.
How long can this go on?
It shouldn't be reused. I hate that word. Repurposed is much better.
Repurposed, yeah.
Just a quick reminder that there's no puzzler answer this week because our beloved puzzler is still on, summer vacation. So if you've got a real bad case of puzzleritis, just go to the Car Talk section of cars.com and we'll infuse you right there. In the meantime, we'll take your calls at 1-888-CAR-TALK. That's 888-227-8255. Hello, you're on Car Talk.
This is Kathy.
Hi, Kathy. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Richmond, line 5. And my girls have never heard of y'all.
Richmond, line 5.
Richmond, Virginia.
Yeah, got it.
Got it?
Got it.
You got it.
What's
So you're obviously at work.
Obviously.
You're trying to direct traffic and talk to us at the same
and
time.
I'm the boss.
Oh.
Well, if you're the boss, then
Yeah.
they'll figure out what to do.
So what's up, Kathy?
You have to delegate responsibility. You can't be a good boss unless you can disappear for a couple of weeks at a time.
There you go.
So what's going on?
All right. I have an 86 Saab,
Yes?
150,000 miles.
A 900 or a 9,000?
It's a Kmart special. It's the 900.
900. Yeah. Okay.
I have an oil leak in the front engine.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had it for 6 years.
The car or the leak?
And you just got around to calling us? Has the line been busy all that time?
And, yeah. Patty called you. I'm on the other line.
Hey, come on. Hey, we're on a tight schedule here.
Man.
Patty, who cares about
This is really
Patty?
gonna be good, isn't it? I hope my husband doesn't find out all these calls I'm on. I'm sorry.
That's quite all right.
All right, so...
For 6 years, you've had an oil leak in the front engine. How about the rear engine?
No,
No, the
I
front
just
of the
have a front engine in this one.
Well, the front of the engine is towards the back of the car. Do you know that? In this
No.
car? This engine's in backwards. Number one cylinder is closest to the firewall.
Well, the oil leak is toward the front of the car, though.
That's what they say.
That's what they say.
Okay, so that's the rear seal.
It's actually the rear of the engine.
Oh.
But that's all right.
And so now they're suggesting that you fix it?
Well, they always suggest I fix it. It's $800 to pull the engine.
Right.
And they don't even know if they can fix it.
No, and if they do pull the engine, they're going to find $800 of additional leaks and problems.
Right.
I'd leave it alone.
Yeah. You've done the right thing by disregarding everything they tell you.
Well, my point is if the car runs, it's 12 years old now.
Yeah.
You've been putting oil in to replace the leaking oil?
I have. I'm very good at every 3,000 miles, 2,000 to 3,000 miles, I have the oil change, and it's less than a quart low.
Oh, then ignore it.
So.
Ignore it.
Yeah.
Absolutely ignore it.
I wouldn't worry about it. Just make sure that you don't forget to change the oil. And you ought to check it once in a while.
Okay.
Between oil changes, because the oil leak could get worse, and then it could be down 2 quarts when you
Okay.
change it, and that wouldn't be good.
All right.
The engine doesn't like to be 2 quarts down.
Okay.
So that's it. That was the whole thing?
That's it. But I called to tell you that my husband and I listen to you every week.
Yeah?
Boy, well,
you can buy some tapes and listen to them all the time. We have tapes for sale, tapes, CDs. Yeah, we got everything. Yeah,
Can we
sure.
interest you in the the October special?
The Car Talk complete entertainment package.
I never know when you guys are telling the truth.
How about the Tape a Month Club? That's it. Why don't we start a Tape of the Month Club?
He already belongs to that Book of the Month Club.
The tape is very passive. You stick it in, you listen. We don't even care if you listen, as long as you buy it.
No, we just haven't used modern marketing techniques. That's why we're a couple of bozos here driving
on our
50-year-old
staff
cars.
an expert in marketing.
That-
Do
that-
we know anybody that knows anything about marketing?
Not a soul.
I didn't think so. See you, Kathy.
Thanks for calling, Kathy. Bye-bye.
Keep checking that oil.
Okay.
Bye-bye. 1-888-CAR-TALK. That's 1-888-227-8255. Hello, you're on Car Talk.
Hey, do you know what it's time for?
Back to school time. Time to buy our intro to radio textbooks.
No, it's too late for that. It's time to play Stump the Chumps! Now, once every few weeks, as part of our plea bargain arrangement with the FCC, we were forced to do this. We invite a past Car Talk caller onto the show to play what we have called Stump the Chumps and prove to those skeptics at the FCC that not everyone we give advice to meets with a horrible, fiery death.
That's right. Our horrible fiery death ratio is down to about what? 65% now?
Well, 85%.
Anyway, who's this week's Chump Stumper?
Well, according to my notes, it's Leonard from Olive Branch, Mississippi. Leonard wanted our advice on fixing a fuel problem with his 87 Olds Cutlass.
Oh, I see horrible fiery death premiums going way up again.
Hold on. When Leonard's car conked out on him, he was astute enough to determine that it wasn't getting fuel and that the fuel line and fuel filter weren't all clogged up either.
Oh, very good, Lenny. So what did he do next?
He replaced the carburetor and it ran fine.
Perfect.
For 2 weeks.
Oh, then he called us?
No, he kept going. He was on a roll.
Being the less than qualified shade tree mechanic that I am, I replaced the fuel pump, thinking it must not be getting enough fuel pressure. Car starts up, runs just fine for 2 weeks.
Oh.
Then it shuts off again.
I have a couple of ideas.
Okay.
Here's one. You could bypass that pesky little carburetor. Just take the fuel line and dump it right into the
Okay, that's really enough of that.
Don't forget, this is how carburation worked in 1900.
You told Lennon to rip off the fuel line and shunt it right into the engine, you knucklehead?
Carburation has been vastly overrated,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Did we give him any real advice?
My notes say you told him that you were sure that his problem was that the fuel system was not venting properly and that he should check it out.
I said I was sure, huh?
You were sure. Yes, you did. All right. Let's find out what happened. Leonard, are you there?
Hey, guys, I'm here.
Hey, Leonard.
How's the food in the burn unit?
All right.
That's right.
Before you tell us anything, we have to assure everyone listening that Stump the Chumps is really on the level.
So play along with us here, will you?
Well,
Lenny?
I'm afraid so, because I tried to weasel Ken Rogers out of a coffee cup, a T-shirt, even a piece of letterhead from Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe.
No.
He wouldn't do any of that.
No dice. Absolutely not.
Oh,
As a matter of fact, he hit me up. He said it was pledge week, and I had to pay you guys.
What a guy. All right, tell us what happened, man.
Well, I went ahead and much to the chagrins of all of the astute auto mechanics in the Olive Branch area, who looked at me like I had two heads when I told them that you guys said it was in the venting system that I should check the charcoal canister.
Yeah.
So sure enough, just to humor them, I took the charcoal canister off. And sure enough, underneath the charcoal canister, there's a filter.
Yeah,
Okay?
and?
That filter was so clogged up, it would. I don't know how air ever went through it.
Yay!
So I have to say they were correct, and they're actually going to use my canister to show people that they can actually go bad at some point in time. But none of them knew there was a filter under there to replace. I replaced just the filter underneath, cost about 29 cents. I've been driving the car like crazy ever since with no problems.
And no carburetor, right?
Ever since meaning the last 2 weeks?
Well, I did take the carburetor off, but when I put the fuel into the carburetor from the fuel line with my lit cigar, it caused third-degree burn to my face. So.
Yeah, no, you shouldn't smoke when you do this.
But think of the bright side, Leonard. You have a new carburetor, new fuel pump. Look at all the new stuff you got that you wouldn't have gotten otherwise.
Hey, this saved me an easy $600 a month, because that's what the new car payment would have been.
Well, that's why Ken hit you up for the pledge.
Yeah, he did say something about that I should pay back what I saved.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, we want to thank you for playing Stump the Chumps and for being such a compliant contestant.
Yeah.
Because most of them are pretty, what's the word? Feisty and uncooperative.
Difficult.
Difficult.
Hey, but it was great, and I wouldn't believe it
Unhappy.
either if I didn't look to see. So.
Hey, thanks for playing.
Hey, thank you.
We'll see you.
See you later.
Bye, Leonard.
If you want to call us.
Another right answer. What does that bring our average up to now, let's say, the last week? 100%?
Have we crossed the Mendoza line, as they say? All right, it's time to take another temporary cancellation.
All right, this is one of those 60-second cancellations that help us practice for the real thing. Is that
You got it.
You're listening to NPR because you're curious. You want to know what the world is like beyond the surface. NPR feeds that curiosity with stories from real people with real experiences and all the perspectives that come with them. It's our right to be curious and our prerogative to listen. So keep your curiosity alive. Hear the bigger picture every day on NPR.
You know those things you shout at the radio or maybe even at this very NPR podcast? On NPR's Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me, we actually say those things on the radio and on the podcast. We're rude across all media. We think the news can take it. Listen to NPR's Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me wherever you get your podcasts.
Recycling can feel like a lost cause, but one college student started a grassroots efforts to turn beer bottles into sand for eroding beaches.
We have some music bumping, and some people are sorting. There's one person crushing, and the rest of us are hand sifting the material.
Now you can come up with creative ideas by taking a second look. Double Takes. That's on the TED Radio Hour podcast from NPR.
Here on The Indicator from Planet Money, we fanned out across the country to ask how you are feeling about the 2025 economy.
Anxious, uncertain,
unfair,
turbulent,
crazy.
We don't just recite the headlines, we show you how the economy is affecting your life in 10 minutes or less. Each weekday, listen to The Indicator from Planet Money, wherever you get your podcasts.
We're back. You're listening to Car Talk with us, Click and Clack, the Tappet Brothers, and we're here to discuss cars, car repair, and the Use the Puzzler. Now, as both of our listeners
Secondhand.
Secondhand. repurposed.
Pre-owned
Puzzler. As both of our listeners know, every summer the puzzler goes on vacation.
Sure. Leave us here to sweat over a hot microphone, why don't you?
But if you're one of those people for whom a week just isn't complete without a Car Talk puzzler, here's what you got to do.
First, seek professional help. Seek professional help.
Or go to the Car Talk section of cars.com where you'll find this week's classic puzzler from the Car Talk archives. And we always welcome your puzzler suggestions for the next puzzler season. Coming to you this fall.
Yeah. The puzzler comes back when all the real shows come back on TV.
Right, like Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Seinfeld. And you can write to us at Puzzler Tower, Car Talk Plaza, Box 3500, Harvard Square, Cambridge.
Our fair city.
Ma 02238. Or, of course, you can email them to us from the Car Talk section of cars.com. If you'd like to call us, the number is 1-888-CAR-TALK. That's 888-822-777-8255. Hello, you're on Car Talk.
Hi, this is Rebecca from Vancouver, Washington.
Hi, Rebecca. Do they call you anything for short?
They call me Becca.
Becca.
Yeah.
Becca.
From Vancouver, Washington.
That's right.
Okay, Becca.
I have a 75 Dodge Dart. That, let's see, it's a slant 6, I think 225.
That's right. You got it, kid.
Okay.
You got it.
Well,
You're living the dream, baby. You're living the dream.
I love this car. I've been through it and back with it. The last couple months. About 6 months ago, I kind of forgot to put oil in it for a while.
You just ruined the dream.
They don't need oil.
The dream turned into a nightmare.
Oh, yeah?
Well, I spun a bearing, so I had to replace the crankshaft. And I did that myself, and it went okay for the most part. And, you know, I had a little help because I'm not strong enough to lift the crankshaft myself.
Aren't they heavy?
Neither am I anymore.
No, nobody is.
Okay, well, I put it all back together, and there's no leaks. It's fine, except when I turn the car off, it wants to keep running. It goes boop, 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 like that.
Okay.
And I have to replace the brake booster, and I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but I've taken it after I replaced the crankshaft and everything. I took it in to have it timed, and they adjusted the carburetor, but it still keeps doing it, and I don't know what that is.
When you did the bearings, you did the crankshaft, you replaced the bearings.
Yeah.
Did you do anything else? Did you take the cylinder head off?
The cylinder head.
You did all this from the bottom.
I don't know the names of the stuff very well, but I put new pistons in, or piston rings. And
Okay, so you took the head off.
Oh, you did.
Yeah.
You did everything.
Yeah. Yeah,
And you don't even know the names of these things, and you did all that?
Well, that's why I needed help, because I don't know the names of things. I have my own names, so I go to the auto parts store, and I'm like, okay, it looks like this.
Give me some of these round things. Give me 18 of these round things.
I need some of the thingies.
I have these things that I call couplets, and I still don't know what they're called, but they're just like things that I'm like, yeah, that looks like a couplet to me.
Sure.
Chicken or veal? Oh, couplet.
A couplet.
I'm mechanically inclined if I know what's wrong, and if I know what the parts are called, I can fix it.
Wow.
So now you want to know why.
So you did everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, there are various causes for your condition, which is called dieseling.
Okay.
One of them is excessive engine idle speed.
Okay.
Which I trust you don't have because you took it in to be adjusted.
Right.
And if the guys that adjusted it were over 45, they would have known how to adjust it.
Okay, yeah, they were.
They adjusted the carburetor, you said?
Yes.
And you say you need a booster. Why do you need a booster? Because the brakes don't work correctly?
Yeah, when I go to stop, it kind of mushes to the floor, and I really have to push it in there, and the guy said that it was the brake booster.
Now, if it mushes to the floor, that means the booster's working well.
It's the master cylinder.
The master cylinder.
Yeah. Was this the same guy that adjusted the carburetor?
Yeah.
Okay, then that explains everything.
We'll change everything.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, it's not the booster.
It's not the booster.
But they're not related.
Okay.
Here's the test for the booster if you want to do it.
Okay.
Okay. First, start the engine, get it warmed up.
Okay.
Shut the engine off. Okay. Get inside the car and pump the brake pedal 6 or 7 times. And each time you do it, the pedal will get harder and harder to depress and will also get higher.
Okay.
So that you'll be able to move the pedal only a fraction of an inch before it feels like a rock.
Okay.
With your foot held firmly on the brake pedal, start the engine.
Okay.
If the booster is working, you will feel the pedal sink down toward the floor.
Okay.
If the booster weren't okay, it might be giving you a vacuum leak. That being the case, it could make the engine run too lean. It could also cause it to diesel.
Okay. Oh,
but it would
okay.
run very rough. Does it run rough?
Yeah.
So the engine at idle will shake.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. If you know where the booster is?
Yeah, I do.
There's a big fat rubber hose that runs from the booster. There's only one hose.
Okay.
Get a pair of pliers, and while the engine is running, squeeze that hose as hard as you can.
Okay.
And if the engine runs more smoothly, you need a booster.
Okay.
And that could be causing you dieseling.
Oh, okay.
But if this guy misdiagnosed the booster, then he probably adjusted the carburetor incorrectly.
Okay.
There are other possibilities. In fact, excessive engine operating temperature could cause dieseling.
Wrong timing.
And that could be caused by having bearings that weren't fitted correctly or the crankshaft that wasn't installed correctly. But we don't want to get into that because that would be very depressing, and it would ruin the rest of your summer.
That's right, because I'm certain that I put it in right.
Of course you
did. We know you did.
Okay.
Okay?
Great.
See you, Becca.
Bye.
You may have to fly us out there.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Good luck. That was pretty courageous of her.
It was.
I think I'll just replace the crankshaft.
Well,
Wow.
don't you remember when we had the do-it-yourself shop?
Do I remember?
Long, long ago, on a galaxy, long forgotten. We had people that used to come into our shop. We had a shop that was split down the middle with an imaginary line. And on one half of the shop, we had a regular repair shop. And the other half, we used to rent out tools and space with a jack and a drop light and a shoulder to cry on. And I was always amazed at the courage that people had to do things that they had never done before. And more importantly, jobs that we had never done before. Well, you've wasted another perfectly good hour listening to Car Talk. Our esteemed producer is Doug, not a slave to fashion, Berman. Our associate producer and Dean of the College of Automusicology and Dean of the College of Automusicology is Ken Ed Grimley Rogers. Our assistant producer is Catherine Imelda Ray Marcos, and our engineer is Dennis Foley, assisted today by Jonathan, yes, Master, Marston. Our technical, spiritual, and menu advisor is Mr. John S. Lawler. Our public opinion pollster is Paul Murky of Murky Research, assisted by statistician Marge Inovera. Our customer care representative is Haywood Jabuzoff, assisted by Kurt Reply. Our director of catering is Russell Upsongrub, and our telephone solicitation response specialist is Teresa Nobody home. Our staff gossip columnist is Bud Inskeep. Peekaboo Street directs our intensive care unit, which is known as the Peekaboo ICU. Our director of moral support is Hugh the Man, assisted by Hugo Girl. Our sexual harassment counselor is Pat McCann, and our Leo Tolstoy biographer is Warren Peace, author of Leo Tolstoy by Warren Peace. Our chief counsel from the law firm of Dewey, Cheatham & Howe is Louis Dewey, known to the napping cops in Harvard Square. You'll be guaranteed to get a ticket tomorrow as Huey Louis Dewey. Thanks so much for listening. We're Click and Clack, the Tappert Brothers, and don't drive like my brother.
Don't drive like my brother.
We'll be back next week. We hope. Bye-bye.
And now here is Car Talk Plaza's entertainment critic, Mr. Vinny Rubats.
All right, now today I'm recommending a copy of this week's Car Talk Show, which happens to be number 35. A thriller-minute ride through the magical world of automotive adventure.
Magical world of automotive adventure. Where do you get stuff like
Hey, I studied English at MIT, tailpipe breath. Now, if you want this week's fine show or any other Car Talks collections on like CDs or anything like that, just call our Shameless Commerce Division at 1-888-CAR-JUNK. That's 888-CAR-JUNK.
Thank you, Vinny.
Hey, you gonna finish that donut or what? Car Talk is a production of Dewey, Cheatham & Howe and WBUR in Boston.
And even though Geraldo's glad he works in commercial broadcasting every time he hears us say it, this is NPR, National Public Radio.
What would you think if you saw a robot dog out for a walk in your neighborhood?
What the hell is that? Oh my God.
This is Basha. She's hanging out with us. So could I have a medium?
Double takes, and how they can change your point of view. That's on the TED Radio Hour podcast from NPR.
Hey everybody, it's Ian from How to Do Everything. On our show, we attempt to answer your how-to questions. We don't know how to do anything, so we call experts. Last season, both Tom Hanks and Martha Stewart stopped by to help. Our next season is launching in just a few months, so get us your questions now by emailing howto@npr.org or calling 1-800-424-2935.